morning. It is 6:05 in the AM. It is March 26th, and it's Wednesday, which is my Monday, my first day of work. And hi, I'm Beth, and this is my box. I'm at work. It is the start of my work week. Anyway, um, I've watched worm videos all weekend to first A, distract myself, and second B, to try and prepare for the unexpected of what maniacs do. I have no control over that, but I do have control over me and what I can do. Um, so yeah, I'm looking. I've been looking at the worm videos. I planted some seeds. I excuse me. I bagged up some leaves for two reasons. One, because they needed to be bagged up. Second, because they're under a carport. Second is I want to keep the bag of leaves and I'll use them as food for the worms later on down the line. Uh, I will be looking where I can get some worms because I've only got, what, 4 or 5 in my little thing, and I don't even know if they're still alive at this point. So I need to get a bulk set of worms, but it's good because I've been putting things into the worm house, so to say, and the microbes have had an opportunity to build up and do their things, which apparently makes worms really happy. So that's good. Anyway, um, yeah. So that's been going on. I've been watching all this stuff about what is that? Hedge, the drunken dude that's in charge of our defense. So yay! I've been watching the whole thing about his basically leaking of confidential information over a system. I don't know. There's so many systems. What is it? Switch or some shit. But basically, all these Republicans that cried for years about Hillary and her emails, now they get smacked in the face with something that is totally unsecured. And now they're like, oh, but it wasn't classified and blah, 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 blah. So they're hypocrites. All of them are hypocrites, which you knew they were going to be hypocrites to begin with, at least the ones that think like me. So, yeah, America is not doing well right now. I need to double check on the march for March 30th to see if it's happening or if it's happening up in New York. Because if it's in New York, I can't go. If it's in DC, then I have a better shot of going. So I'll double check on that. And on other sad type personal news, the election was what, 5 months ago? And now, now after 5 months, my mom has finally asked me, are you mad at me? And I answered honestly. I said, no, I'm not mad at you. I didn't go into elaborate details. I just said no. The thing I've come to recognize is that I'm not mad at her anymore. I just know who she is now. And still gripping with the fact that that's very disappointing. And it's more than just the one thing. Because if I was a teenage me and this same situation happened, then I would have just moved out. Not even teenage, 20-ish years old. I would have moved out. And I so wanted to move out because I didn't want where I rest my head to be full of disturbances that would accompany staying in this house. So now I'm just living with the uncomfortableness of living in the house. And is she doing anything different? No, not really. It's totally me. I'm the one that's doing it. as far as the only thing that I'm doing really is I just stopped communicating with her about day to day silly stuff. I'll say good morning in the morning and good night at night and mild, whatever conversations, pretty much how's the weather kind of conversations. But I see no point in me just talking about day to day shit at work or any other thoughts that I have because what does it matter? Really, her vote let me know that anything I say doesn't really matter. 12 years I asked you not to vote for him. 3 times you defied me. It's not even a defile, it's the fact that you are such a Christian lady and you believe in that whole don't break the 10 Commandments, and yet you voted for somebody who's broken every single commandment at least once, if not 3 times. So, calling yourself a lovely little Christian and then voting for somebody like that lets me know that what you say and what you believe goes against everything that I believe in. So, I can't help but think of a lovely girl named Sharon. It was just Sharon, but got to mix it up a little bit. So I worked with her at 7-Eleven, and I was the coffee girl and she was the cashier. Loved her. Loved her. She was awesome. She was a teeny tiny little thing, maybe 4'11" as far as height. But let me tell you, this girl had some muscle on her. Whew. Um, anyway, you would ask her how she was doing in her morning, and she would say, "Oh, I'm percolating." So that's why I liked her. Well, not just that, but that shows you her character and her, personality type thing. I'm percolating. Well, at one point, she was having difficulties in the house that she lived in, which was an apartment, basically, and she was struggling because she felt like once she got home, she couldn't do anything. So I told her sometimes I have extra sensory perceptions, ESP of some sort. So I can sense things that other folks can't sense. So I told her I'd come to her house and I'd see what I could see or feel what I could feel about the situation. So I came over. At first, we were just chitting and chatting and just relaxing with some wine. We smoked a little and everything was chill. And then I got to allowing myself to feel the energy that was surrounding the place that she lived. Now, where she lived was an old, it had to have maybe been built in the 1800s. It was not old like 1700s, but it was indeed old building, which happens in downtown regions because that's just something that occurs in downtown. The buildings that once served as storefronts or whatever get turned into um, apartments. So that's basically where she was living, is downtown in an old building. Well, once I got to sitting in there and feeling it, and I was like, baby girl, I got it figured out. And she's like, what's that? I was like, I get the vibe of soldiers running, walking back and forth from the front door to the back door, to the front door to the back door, just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I was like, the vibe from this place reminds me or feels like the military of the Civil War. And you being a black person, and because the Civil War and what it was all about is, as a black person, you were not allowed the freedom to do whatever you wanted to do. You had to wait for somebody to tell you what to do before you could do it. So you're living in the vibe of not being able to do things. Like, for instance, she gave me the example of one day she parked her car outside, came inside, and then a downpour happened. And she knew her windows were down to her car, but she did not get up to go roll the windows up because she felt like she couldn't leave her apartment. So I explained to her, I was like, it's the vibes of these soldiers making you feel like you can't do anything unless somebody gives you permission. And she's like, well, what do I do with that? I was like, well, just tell them, fuck you. You're dead. I'm not. You know what I mean? Now, what she did feel freedom after that once she had an understanding of what the vibe was in the room. So I don't know how much longer she lived in the place because I ended up leaving 7-Eleven. It was a whole thing, just another part of life and its experiences. Well, how she felt in that apartment is kind of like how I feel. I can't be me because I'm not respected in a sense. My thoughts had no meaning to anybody in the house. My son, yeah, okay, he understands and he at least somewhat believes me, but he still does his own thing, like not voting. He didn't see that as an important thing to me. My mom straight up went against what I asked her for so long, so I'm not mad at her anymore over this. I'm just disappointed in who the real her is. So in my youth, I would have just, my mouth would have just went, and that would have been that. And I would definitely have moved out because the hard feelings I would have caused would have been trauma and drama for both sides. Now, I'm almost 60 years old. I don't hang with friends like I used to. So I don't have somewhere else to go and I don't have the money to just up and go. It just destroyed any thoughts of happy cohabitation. So it is. So now I know that, okay, I have a place to stay and put my head, but I can't be fully me. I get the side eye with the beer, of course, and it's her own perception that I'm a sinner for doing that. Ugh. She'll give her money to these people, these evangelicals, who I believe is the reason why she voted the way she did, other than a lifelong doing. But that was another part of why I didn't want to move out. Is here she is, an 80-year-old lady. I don't want to leave her in the house by herself at this time. But I also don't want to stop living. Is my way of living, the best in the world? No, but it's added up to who I am now, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is just I my stuff is everywhere in the house, and it's not like it's basically I'm living at the house, but I don't feel like it's home. My she shed, that feels like home. Even though it's totally got too much shit in it, it still feels more like home because I can be me. I can cuss, I can fart, I can drink my beer, I can smoke, whatever. That's what my she shed does for me. In the house, I have to be nicer or whatever. And it's like, okay, I've tried, like when I first moved in, um, there was all kinds of my stepfather's equipment, and he had nice equipment too. And I would have, if I had known what some of this equipment was, I wouldn't have tried to get rid of it so fast. Some of it I could have used today, but no, Beth didn't know any better, so Beth just got rid of it. Because when I asked her what I could do to try and clean stuff out, to try and make room for all of my 40 years worth of crap, she's like, "Oh, you can do whatever you want to do with it when I die." That is not helpful. Not helpful. So now in the house, we have my stepfather's stuff that she hasn't gotten rid of. We have my stepbrother's stuff that she's probably easier to try and get rid of stuff than her father's. We still have my dead grandmother's stuff in the house, my dead grandfather's stuff, her my stepfather's mother's stuff. So we basically have five dead people's stuff in the house. And instead of going through it and getting rid of it, it's just accumulating and just compiling. And I don't want to wait until she dies to continue to live. Because by that point, I could be 80 and she could be 100. And at 80, I don't want to sit here and have to try and go through all this shit. It's a whole thing, and I'm being stressful at this moment. It's just, I feel like Sharon and I can't get things done. Like I wanted to do this, set up the Shopify and Printify. Well, the best place for me to do that with my computer and the internet access is to do it in the house. And Sunday is the only day that I have basically to myself because my son and my mom are gone. But I still didn't do it. So this is a problem with me. It's not a problem with anybody else. I'm not blaming anybody else. This is on me. I didn't do that. So I just have to work with myself and try and get this stuff situated. I don't want to tell my mom that I'm not mad at you. I just recognize who you are now, and I'm a bit disappointed when she's 80 years old. Give her a before she dies hard time. That's not fair either. So I just have to, just keep on keeping on with it. No, I don't respect you as much as I used to because you are the one who taught me not to respect you now. You voted for a guy who broke the 10 Commandments over and over again. And even if it wasn't about the 10 Commandments, he's breaking the laws of the Constitution. But no, let's keep supporting the moron who's taken away my Social Security and others. He's taken away veteran benefits, and I'm not even a veteran, but I'm a Navy brat, so I understand what the hell he's doing. He's taken away Medicare and Medicaid because, the poor people, fuck them, even though the poor people are the ones that elected him, even though he cheated, because it's complicated and convoluted, and that's what this con man does, is he just adds more cons into the whole situation. Anyway, that's the recap of my weekend thoughts and such as that. I did plant the sugar cane. I don't know how well it'll do. Maybe something, the freaking squirrels, man. I had a pot of oregano seeds that were doing just fine. They had the little sprout heads come up, and there was a whole bazillion of them. And the fucking squirrels knocked over the pot, so everything went everywhere. I couldn't find the pot, and then when I found it, it was just everywhere. So now I'm sure all the seeds are dead, and there's nothing that's going to revive them because they ended up drying out. Ugh, it was a whole thing. Anyway. So I did plant the sugar cane. I planted the sweet potatoes, the potatoes. I planted some hollyhocks, that seed, some more sunflower seeds. Yeah, so that should be coming up at least somewhat. Anyway, those are the thoughts and ramblings for me today. Yeah. Anyway, all right. I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for watching. I hope y'all have a nice day. Remember, take care of yourselves because that's all we got. Okay? Peace out.